Hello everyone and welcome to the blog this week. I apologize for not having an upload last week. I attempted to do a technology upgrade on my equipment and it succeeded in the fact that the software operated as it intended and did not succeed in the fact that it did not play well with others. So lost about a week's worth of time, which by the way was a big deal because I didn't just lose a week's worth of time on my video equipment. I lost a week's worth of time on my writing equipment, so I had to not use the program I have been using and then had to work with other projects. So I don't like getting up against deadlines, and I like even worse being past them, and right now I'm a little bit of both. So fun times. But not to worry, because what I'm actually going to be doing is I'm going to do my part 2 to my How to Twitter Effectively series today. But then I'm going to do another piece in the middle of the week, which is going to be the one that I wanted to have up next week about deadlines and the anxiety that they can cause, because I have a project coming out on the 14th and it's making me mental. In the immortal words of John Green, and that's the sound my anxiety makes. And then right on time, we're going to finish that up at the end of the week with the part 3 and final part to the Twitter episodes, which is things not to do. Because, oh my lord, we do a lot of those. So we're going to... Week 1, I showed you who to have on. Episode 2, I'm going to show you how to get them. Episode 3, I'm going to show you how to not piss them off. So, let's get back into how to get people and how to maintain them. Not that tricky, not that time consuming. I'm going to show you what I've been doing to get between 500 and 750 followers a week. You could probably triple that if you did this process more than once a week. I just would rather spend that time writing than pruning. So I kind of am building slower than I could, but this is really simple. Anybody can do this, and it's only going to take you a couple hours, 2, 3 tops per week, and you're done. First thing to understand is there's a couple devices that Twitter uses to try to limit how quickly you can grow. Number 1, you can only have a certain ratio of following to followers. Followers, far more than you are following, it will not let you follow that many more at a time. So you got to kind of try to balance it. Honestly, I've just been using an almost 1-to-1 ratio because if nothing else, this helps to build rapport, which I'm going to get into in a minute. Additionally, you can only follow 1,000 people in a day. So if you're doing this once a week, your maximum input is pretty much going to be 1,000. That's okay. If you're looking to try to build your Twitter subscription organically, 1,000 is going to be fine because you're not going to want to put more time than that into it most likely. So here's what we're going to do. If you already have a Twitter presence, you have some followers, some following, and you may or may not be on some people's lists. As soon as you see you are on a list, I want you to subscribe to the list, even if you don't think you're ever going to use it. The reason is people put people on lists on Twitter when it's someone that they like to follow, and they organize them like-mindedly, as you saw us do in the first episode, putting your writers together, putting your editors together, etc. So, if somebody puts you on a list of funny people, well, you're on that list because people on that list are regularly active on Twitter. Regularly active people are what you want in your list. So, the best way to find them is for someone else to introduce you to them, and that's exactly what lists do. So as soon as somebody puts you on a list, I want you to subscribe to the list, save it, and you can go back to these lists later on. If you don't have a list that you're subscribed to right now, I want you to find somebody that you follow who has a number of followers roughly 1,000 more than you do. 800 to 1,200 is pretty much the mark that I aim for, because that's going to make the next part pretty easy. Once you have lists that you can plug, or someone else's followers that you can try to farm for, you are going to go through that list and you are going to follow 1,000 people. It's not going to take as long as it sounds. You're going to be there for an hour, 2 hours tops. I'm not talking about going through and trying to itemize who people are, this and that right now. If you're on a list, you don't need to do that. Somebody already itemized that for you, and these are going to be people you want. If it's someone else that you're following and they have a lot of good reactionary followers in their Twitter feed, odds are they also already did the work for you. There's going to be a couple that are going to be in their fourth category from what we discussed last week that you're going to decide if you want those or not. But other than that, most of the work's already done. You're going to plug all the people that you want to grab, and you're going to hit 1,000 of them. Twitter won't let you hit more than that. You hit 1,000, you're done. Okay, now you put that away. That's all you do for today. Day 1 of your week, you find 1,000 people, and you try to get them to like you. Days 2 through 6, you're going to keep track of your new follower notifications, because some of these are going to be ones that you followed, and some aren't. Some are going to be people that just kind of bumped into you during the week. You want to make sure you're following them back. Again, I'm trying to maintain a roughly even split, and by following them back, they're also going to be more interested in building rapport with me. Again, get to the rapport in a second. Days 2 through 6, you're just going to be doing a little bit of maintenance, not heavy lifting. Shouldn't take you more than 10-15 minutes a day. And if you're popping on to check your Twitter, you're just going to do it while you're doing that. It's not a big deal. On day 7, you're going to go back into your followers list, and you're going to look for a little tag next to their name that says follows you. Anybody in that 1,000 that you hit on day 1 that aren't following you within a week, either A, they're not interested in you right now, or B, you don't want them following anyway, because odds are it's because they didn't check their Twitter in a week. Someone that doesn't check their Twitter at least once a week is not going to help you build an audience, so there's no point in not having them on the list anyway. So go through and prune out any of the ones that you didn't need. Out of your 1,000, it's probably going to be between 200 to 400. Less if you jumped from a list, more if you jumped from somebody else's account. Even more if you jumped from someone's account that isn't terribly organized or terribly reactive. So that's the first half of today's lesson, which is how to get people. Number 2 is how to keep them. How to keep them and how to be engaging. Okay, if we're writers, we already have a handle, hopefully, on how to entertain people. You want to say funny things, you want to say inspiring things, you want to say creative things, and this is going to get them to respond. You want to make sure that you're putting up things that they want to hear in greater quantities than necessarily plugging your own book, and we're going to get to that in the don'ts next week. For now, we're just going to focus on things that are going to make them respond, things that are going to make them follow you. First thing you want to do is you want to have a constant Twitter presence. And by that, I mean get somebody to do it for you. There's a number of different softwares out there that you can use for this. I actually use a site called Tweet Jukebox. It allows me to store, in the free version, because I'm not even paying for it, over 1,000 different messages that I can put up. It will randomly pick one of these to put up every day based on the window and the time frame that you tell it to do. If anybody's been following me, they notice that I'm generally on at the top of the hour every 3 hours. That's because these are programmed in. These are going to be hitting from 10 a.m. until I think 11 o'clock at night, plugging every 3 hours. What you want to do with these is make them things that are light, engaging. These aren't your heavy lifting pieces. These are your don't forget to remember me pieces. A lot of these are funny quips, a lot of these are quotes, a lot of these are other things that someone might find engaging that aren't necessarily about your work, but are more about you, giving people an idea of who you are, what you're into. For example, I've got a bunch of quotes on there. My quotes are either writing-related quotes or Rocky-related quotes, because I'm from Philly and a huge Rocky fan. To the point where I have conversations, and I quote Rocky during conversations, and people don't always catch it, and hey, what do you want? Fighter's gonna fight. This is gonna give you a lot of different material. It's gonna cycle through. It goes through the entire list before it puts back one again that it's already used, so it allows you to keep it fresh. The more pieces you can get in there, the better. I actually have to go in and put in more. I only have like 200, and I realized that that makes it cycle through in about a week and a half. So at this point, people that have seen my list are starting to see a lot of repeats. So I want to put in more material because I want them to be engaged. Believe it or not, if you phrase these the same way you would normally be talking to someone mid-conversation, use your writer skills, write dialogue, then people are still going to respond to it. They're going to react even though it's being put up by a bot and not you. This is going to give you a constant presence, which is going to help to get you more followers and get you more interest. You're going to want to sprinkle into these some pieces about your work coming up, places where people can buy your book, books that you're working on, but generally try to keep it to only about 25%. That's still going to allow you to get a hit or two a day about please buy my stuff without it looking like every tweet you make is please buy my stuff. Aside from those, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up pieces at night when I'm generally online and writing that are about what I'm doing writing today. People who have seen me put up, time to get to work, this book ain't going to write itself. Every one of those is me because it's what I do to focus in right before I start writing. So if you're seeing those go up, I'm on and doing stuff. Also, if you have people that you follow a lot, writers that are busy on Twitter a lot, artists, musicians, whatever you've chosen to follow, also make a list of the people that tweet and respond to you the most, engage them back. Anytime you engage somebody back, either thanking them for a retweet or thanking them for a like or hitting them up on a project that you're working on. For example, Tyler and I are both writers that have pieces up on Chanello. If I'm getting ready to post something on Chanello, I might tag him in a tweet. If I just did a great scene for the piece that I'm going to be putting on Chanello, I might tag him in a tweet. The reasons are, he's going to be interested in these, it's going to help to build my rapport with him, and it's going to help to build his rapport with my readers as well. This allows for a good amount of cross-promotion, and anytime you're helping somebody else build their business, odds are they're going to be more than happy to help you build yours too. And that's really about it. Again, an hour to 2 hours on the first day of the week, 2 to maybe 3, depending on how much you have to prune out on the 7th day of the week, 10, 15 minutes every day in between that. It's just simple maintenance. It's not a lot of work. And you can even use it during that writer's blockish time when your brain's trying to work on how to solve a problem. Bounce in, hit a couple tweets. That way you're still doing something productive while your brain's trying to figure out what your hand should be doing. And you can just keep yourself moving forward. It doesn't take a lot of work. It doesn't take a lot of time. It doesn't take a lot of effort. But it will get you followers, and it will get you engaged followers. Engaged followers become readers, and readers hopefully become buyers. So, easy, quick way to build your portfolio on Twitter. That's all I have for part 2. Remember, next week we're going to have 2 different pieces. About midweek, we're going to have release anxiety, and then next Saturday I will finish up this cycle with part 3. If you liked all of this but didn't know what I was talking about when I was referencing part 1, please go to my YouTube channel and watch that video. Other than that, keep an eye out for works that I have. I have mentioned Chanello several times. I have a project on there. I have a Patreon account, which I just posted my first work for that and has gotten rave reviews from everyone that read it. Thank you for my Patreon backers. If you would like to back it, you can see exactly what they read for $1. My first pledge level is $1, and that gets you access to my Patreon-only literature. So go in, $1, take a look. Here's the thing about Patreon. It charges you on the first of the month. This is not the first of the month, most likely. So go in, pledge $1, take a look and see what I've got. If you like it, stay for your $1. If you don't, cancel your $1. You've spent nothing. Works out pretty well. Please follow the link to Corrogatio. You can download free short stories there that have been printed by Monolith. Monolith is an up-and-coming publisher off the West Coast. They've got some more pieces coming up, and that's actually part of my release information, which is going to be happening this week. There's a serial they're producing called Absolute Valentine Memory Green, which I have been writing. It is, if I do say so, really wicked, and if you like post-apocalyptic, dystopic, slightly cyber-noir fiction, this is going to be a really good one for you, but I'll have more about that for you in the middle of the week. In the meantime, thank you for coming, thank you for watching, stay engaged, and keep reading.